Hi, my name is Emily Corona, and today I'll be presenting my honors U.S. History POL. So I'll be presenting how George Templeton's strong statement is true, and his statement was, "The bird of our country is a debilitated chicken disguised as eagle feathers. We have never been a nation. We are only an agitate of communities who are ready to fall apart at the first serious shock." So Templeton is basically stating the colonies have always been disunited, and they are ready to separate. So the first event I would like to talk about is the Vesey plot and how it led to disunity. So the Vesey plot was basically a plan planned by slaves to overrule and take over a town in South Carolina, and kill all the white men there. So over 1,000 slaves, enslaved and slave, were to be led by Denmark Vesey in July of 1822. So the plan didn't happen because, as stated by online source, a slave told his master about the plan, and the master told local authorities about it, and so they put a stop to the rebellion before it could happen. So as a result, other rebellions happened, and this gave hope to African Americans that were still enslaved that they would be freed. So this called for the South to make stricter laws and stricter norms about how slavery would be like in the South, and this angered a lot of Northerners. Because they didn't either like the idea or they didn't agree with the idea. So, for every rebellion that happened, or that was going to happen, the South took action, and so then, as a result of the South having more strict rules on the slaves, the North saw the true evils of slavery, and this led to more anti-slavery activists, which led to more Northerners seeing that there should be an abolishment of slavery, or at least a stop to it. And the South saw it as the North pushing the slaves to rebel against them and show them that they were weak. So there's always been disunity between the North and the South, but this clearly showed that there were two different ideologies between the two, and that this was the first serious shock that showed it. So the next event I'd like to talk about is the election of 1860. So election in 1860 was between 4 candidates and 2 competing ideas. So the 4 candidates were Abraham Lincoln, a Republican, a Northern Democrat, Stephen Douglas, a Southern Democrat, John Breckinridge, and a Constitutional Union candidate, which was John Bell. So the 2 competing ideas were that there was either an abolishment or stop to slavery, or that slavery would keep on going. So in the end, Abraham Lincoln was elected president, and as a result, the North favored him, but the South were outraged. The reason the South were outraged is because they thought Abraham Lincoln would put a stop to slavery, and put abolishment to slavery. But the truth was, Abraham Lincoln didn't want to abolish slavery; he just wanted to put an end to it, so that it wouldn't spread to the Western territories. So, as a result, the South was also angered because no electoral college vote came from the South for him, and he was still elected president. And even in 10 other states, his name wasn't even on the ballot, and he only got 40% of the popular vote. So, as a result, the South saw this as a final straw and saw themselves as a minority, because they saw that the North can overrule and control their source of government and overrule their opinions, because it didn't matter to them at that point. So the North saw this as a final straw, as I mentioned before, and so then this led them to thinking that they don't want to be part of the U.S. anymore. So this led to them separating from the United States, which then later they became known as the Confederacy, which later started the Civil War. So both events, all in all, connect to slavery, and slavery was the main cause of the division between the country as a whole. So then there is now the North and the South. This concludes my POL, and thank you for your time.